Welcome to the Wilderness Workbench. I'm Jacob, and this is my Coleman B200. It's got a Predator 212 in it. It is the non-Hemi, and it's got a Amazon Mikuni knockoff carb. The governor's not zip tied at all, and I got it for about 120 bucks. Reason I got it so cheap is because the Predator that's on it is locked up, or so I was told when I bought it. I actually found out just the other day that if I grabbed the flywheel and rotated it, that I could actually get it to move one full rotation around before it stops again. It's got a hard stop. So today we're going to pull the engine off and figure out what happened. So the first step is going to be to drain the oil, if there is any. So we're gonna put this in here and zip this guy out. We'll see what we get here. So it's real cold right now, middle of February. My phone said it was 3 degrees outside, and I don't have a heated garage, so this might take a little while. I'll try to speed it up here a little bit. Oh, it's coming out there too. A little overfull. Well, maybe not. I guess the bike's not level, but quite a bit in there. Give this a chance to drain out. And while that's happening, I could pull the blower housing back off. I don't want too much of this on my bench, so I'm going to leave it for a minute and I'll come back. There's always more you can do while you're waiting, so let's take this guy off. I want it off anyways. I think I'm gonna eventually want this secondary off. I'm gonna put this on here and attempt to use this as like a band wrench. Key, spacer, key was in there. What I was told with this bike was it had tipped over in the mud and the air filter popped off, and that was when it died, and they never got it to run again. So I'm guessing we're gonna find lots of mud and junk in here. And so far it looks like some of it made it through the exhaust. Mud in the exhaust port. So that's not too good. This engine is probably toast, and I knew that when I bought it. These Predator engines are pretty cheap. I've already got a new engine for it. Just curious what happened to this one. Tear it apart. Play engine detective with it. Alright, I'm gonna say that's enough oil out of here, so enough to pull it off the bike. Nothing too shiny in there. Just looks like dirty oil. I'm hoping that the bottom end is good anyways. I guess it doesn't really matter. I'm replacing the engine. Pull this thing off of here. Should be 4 bolts underneath here. And there's only 3. And there's a nut on top of each one of these that's just spinning. I'm dripping oil all over my floor. Not the first time. Alright, that's 3. And the 4th one was missing. What else do I need to pull off of this thing? Gas tank is empty. We're gonna just pull the fuel line off. go. Take the slide off the carb. I think I'm just gonna take the carb off. Got that right on the first try. So this is probably a 10 or 12. Of course, it's the one that I did not grab. The slide is seized inside the carb, so I can't get that out. Probably should have done this before I disconnected the engine from the bike. So I don't know if I'm going to reuse this carb later or not. I'm guessing not, but I might try it out if it'll clean up. Wreck the gasket in the process. That's normal. Put this thing up on the workbench now. So I decided to get down here to take a closer look at this carb after I had it off. Just show you how cruddy it is in here. There's just a bunch of mud. And it's all frozen because my garage is cold, but something else interesting, a little bit of wear right here on the bowl. You can see that notch in it, and it coincides with the notch on the plastic right here on this cover, right there. So that's kind of interesting that the Coleman plastic and the Chinesium used on this appear to have similar hardness because they're both eating each other at about the same rate. So that's very interesting. Little intake adapter off that I'm assuming came with that cheap little knockoff carburetor. I want to check out in the cylinder head. So let's see, maybe I should pull that plug first. See what it looks like. Looks like a torch plug. I believe that's the factory plug for these. Definitely some moisture in there. There's little ice crystals on it. Alright, let's see what's under this valve cover here. Alright, there's in the valve cover. Everything looks pretty clean. I don't see any metal in here. Inside of this looks okay. Throw it on the workbench. Alright, now it's time to take the head off. I have not ever torn one of these apart. I got a heat shield on over here. And off with the cylinder head. Oh yeah. The head bolts on the floor. That's some good stuff right there. Yep. Not a good day for this engine. Got some ice in here. Like I said, it's real cold in here right now, so. Definitely some mud. Some mud here. Frozen to the piston. Yeah, that's not too good. See what happens when we roll it over now. See how far we can get it to go. Let's actually just dump that stuff right out. Alright, that was the top. That's further than it's gone so far. Look at that, we're turning over again. So that was what I thought it was going to be, something up here in between the piston and the head. Alright, let's get to taking this side cover off. Got it tipped up a little bit, so if there's any oil left in there, it can't fall out. Theoretically. Got all those out. Now we can take this cover off. Let's do it like this. I'm guessing this is going to be a little harder than I anticipated. There we go. Alright, pull this thing off. Don't care too much about the gasket. Alright, cover looks okay. Let's take a glove off here. Bearing feels fine, as far as I can tell. No weird noises out of it. Cam journal looks okay. Push rods are already out. There's our cam. This other glove off here. A little weird mark there, but it's not a... I don't think it's anything to be concerned about. Yeah, cam is fine. Let's get this thing out of the way here. Break it in the process. Put tappets out of there. These don't look all that bad either. Nothing wrong with those. Let's see what happens when we move this. This arm moves inside. It looks like it's been slipping a little bit actually. So it's not even where it belongs. Let's see when we try to turn. Yeah, that's not good. That shouldn't be there. Honestly, I think if we just did a proper governor delete with the flywheel swap and the connecting rod swap, and holding the cylinder, put a new piston and rings in it, this thing would probably run. Probably run good. Alright, let's get this piston out of here and get a better look at things. There's the cap. Look at all that junk. There was definitely some metal in there, but I think that's pretty normal. These engines don't have filters, so you're gonna get a bunch of junk like that. Let me get a clean rag here. Alright, wipe this cap off. Don't see any pitting, nothing alarming, no major scoring or anything. Some pretty atrocious tool marks on there, but nothing you can feel. What do you expect for a factory connecting rod? Alright. So our piston and connecting rod, ice and all. Everything feels what I would call normal. All kinds of mud and sludge there. Pistons are so cheap for these, I probably wouldn't even reuse this. Little discoloration. Top side of the bore is fine. Bottom side is not. The crank appears to be okay from what I can see through the bore. So I chipped away that ice and mud with a screwdriver because I'm not too invested in this engine. A little bit of carbon buildup underneath the mud. Everything else seems decent. Intake port, pretty clean. Exhaust port, not clean at all. Bunch of mud. Should say the intake is clean in comparison to the exhaust. They're both pretty dirty. So I decided to take the valve train out just to check out the head a little closer. So I've already got the rockers and the springs off. We're just gonna push the valves out, see what's underneath here. So this is the intake valve right here. A little bit of rust on it, a little bit of dirt. And then as far as the port goes, definitely inhaled some mud, which we already knew from inside the cylinder. Here's the exhaust side, and there's a big chunk of mud there. All through the side of the port here. All that was in the exhaust port. So I did take the crank out as well, just to verify that it didn't get damaged at all from that internal governor arm. I don't see any real damage, but there's a little, hard to catch on camera, but there's a little mark right there where I'm guessing that that arm was hitting. There's a couple more marks around here too, but nothing that looks nothing that condemns the crankshaft. Still seems usable to me. So I think we can see, based on this engine, why it's important to do a proper governor delete, just so this arm's not hanging inside the engine, knocking against the crankshaft. It's also important that if you do end up getting mud or water somehow in the intake, to just shut it down. Don't keep running it. I think that's pretty obvious, but I'm planning on just keeping this engine around for parts. Maybe I'll use it for another project. Honestly, if I just did a proper governor delete, hole in the cylinder, and then a new piston and a new connecting rod, and then of course with the governor delete I would also do a billet flywheel and get rid of this cast flywheel. I think that would be fine for the next project. See how it goes, and maybe you'll see it on the channel in the future. So until the next one, this is the Wilderness Workbench. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.